Religion and politics are two of the biggest things that will get people heated. That's because there's a spiritual battle in them both. Maybe that's because in the Bible you start with the seeds or principles of things, and then you can see the results of ideas in the community and politics. There is no white Jesus or black Jesus or Democrat Jesus or Republican Jesus. There's just Jesus, the creator of the universe, and us having a relationship with him. And just because we have a relationship with God doesn't mean we forgo our responsibilities. Everyone has the privilege of voting. We vote and do our homework and see policies the candidates have. And there's people that, instead of serving the people that elected them, go for power grabs. When you read the Bible, you have to lay aside preconceived notions and just listen, or you'd be putting an overlay on it and not hearing what the Bible's saying. Jesus wasn't a poor man fighting against the authorities. He was King of Kings, creator, and the kings and leaders were just managers. Jesus, when he came, his main thing was to help reconnect us to God. When an owner has a company, they'll often delegate responsibilities to other people while they focus on projects. They delegate to managers. If they come to visit their company, they aren't going to take their managers out of their responsibilities. They're going to let them do their job as they go about and do the other missions and things they had planned. Now, Jesus didn't agree with everything Caesar was doing or how he ran things, but Jesus was about doing other things. Caesar was just in a management position. It's our responsibility to produce good leaders, and we need wisdom greater than ourselves to do it. A lot of things have changed since Caesar was running things. Regular folks can vote now, among other things. And that's one thing the Bible makes a point of, that God raises up leaders and takes others down. But it's God who executes judgment, putting down one and lifting up another, Psalm 75:7. The owner of a company can hire or fire managers as they see fit. And if God is the owner of all the earth, he could probably do these things too. If science explains everything about the physical universe, would we still need God? I think this is where we deal with the myth that some atheists believe that all people come to God because they don't know how the physical universe works. They don't know how electricity works or something such as this, so they come to God. Sure, there are a few primitive cultures that worshipped a carved stick or a stone statue and called them God, and didn't know how the physical universe worked. But most people today don't come to God because they don't know exactly how quantum physics works, or a cell phone is able to send information and videos to the air as they do. I didn't come to God because things about the physical world were mysterious to me. We come to God because of a need. George MacDonald, a pastor that lived over 150 years ago, said that we're all like sparks off a campfire that flit this way and that way through the air searching, until we should come back home to the campfire that we came from. Home, back to God. As I said before, we're like pixels on a screen. The Creator is much more bigger and complex than we are to have the capacity to make us. Like a human programmer compared to a pixel. Most likely wouldn't know him unless he made himself known to us, and he has, by stepping into time and space as a human, Jesus, and through his word, the Bible. It blows my mind. It'd be like a computer programmer who made all these screen pixels that were sentient and became a pixel himself without losing his humanity and his ability to think and feel, or his ability to program, to interact with pixels. In evolution, there's macro and microevolution. Christianity doesn't disagree with microevolution, that is, changes in species over time. That's how we have so many breeds of dogs. But Darwinian evolution or macroevolution speculates that species can transition into other species. That's a whole other matter. Darwin thought we started out as simpler organisms and transitioned into other species, more complex than the other ones, till finally we have the animals and fauna we have now. My question is, if we evolved from apes, why are there still apes? Why don't we physically keep evolving? Why did we develop walking on two legs when you could see that through the animal kingdom it's much quicker for an organism to run on all fours? Darwin, in theorizing about the origin of life, thought that perhaps a bunch of chemicals could have interacted with each other given the right environment and enough time to form the building blocks of life. The Miller-Urey experiment was set up to prove this part of Darwin's theory. See if the chemicals interacting with each other could have formed the building blocks of life, amino acids. Then could get together and form single-cell organisms. Not only have scientists shown since the 80s that the young Earth have methane, hydrogen, or amino gases in significant amounts, components of the Miller-Urey experiment, these gases don't work. A few amino acids interacted with the other stuff there in the glass beakers and formed a brown sludge, not conducive to life, let alone more complex life. The mathematical odds of assembling a living organism by chance are so astronomical that nobody still believes that random chance accounts for the origin of life. Even if you optimize the conditions, it wouldn't work. If you took all the carbon in the universe and put it on the face of the Earth and allowed it to chemically react at the most rapid rate possible and left alone for 1 billion years, the odds of creating just one functional protein molecule would be 1 chance in 10 with 60 zeros after it. That would make it unlikely that it came about by chance. It's like the fine-tuning of the universe. As you add variable upon variable of the universe to sustain life, you add complexity. So when you're talking about cells, not only do you have complexity of a cell with a strand of DNA, but you have the complexity of what goes on in a cell and the production of proteins. You need an actual factory to make proteins, which is why it's so astronomically improbable for it to come about by chance. Even if amino acids could have been naturally produced as the Miller-Urey experiment claimed, there's no explanation for how they could have been assembled into a living cell by themselves. That's the real challenge, and one scientists have been unable to explain. No hypothesis, such as that there must be some kind of natural attraction between the amino acids, has stood up to scrutiny. That's why some scientists, both Christian and non-Christian, are concluding that orderliness and complexity of life points not to random chance, but to an intelligent design in both the origin and development of life. With a living cell, you're not just talking about a bunch of amino acids hanging around together like a big pile of stones, but a factory. It'd be like throwing a bunch of metal debris into a warehouse. An earthquake happens and you have a finely tuned, precisely programmed robotic factory that can make something as complex as iPhones. That's the big problem. You get this finely tuned, precisely designed thing that was supposed to have come about by chance with a manual or book, the DNA, and the nucleus of the cell. 3 billion long lines of information an engineer would have had to produce, all by chance. Maybe with all the design, it's down to the level that the pixels can see and pick up the computer programmer had made. Information, whether it's a book about how to assemble an airplane or a handwritten birthday card. When you look all through creation, the only place you get it is from an intelligent source, a mind. Each cell in the human body contains more information than all 30 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica. For me, that's the reason enough to believe this isn't the random product of an unguided nature. It's the unmistakable sign of an intelligent designer.